Chapter 61 Late Night Sneak Attack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The middle-aged man frowned, and when he met Qi Yunxiao's evil eyes, he hesitated for a moment and nodded slightly. Forget it, this matter is also a slap in the face of my Qi family. I will help you deal with it. However, you cannot enter the White Scale Lake. No matter whether the Shanghai sect really exists or not, I cannot take this risk with you. Then the conversation changed and he continued, however, killing the Zhou family's little beast can also achieve the goal. This person lives in Balan Lake and has a grudge against you. This matter is most likely to be related to him. It just so happens. Learn about what happened that day and the situation about Shanghai sect through him. Seeing that the middle-aged man agreed, Qi Yunxiao's face showed a look of joy, and his eyes became a bit more sinister. He, Zhou Daoqing of the Zhou family, let's see where you are going this time. And the little girl next to him is said to be a genius with 2 spiritual roots. She just married into the Zhou family not long ago. It is really a waste to let this little beast enjoy it. If you can snatch it away, he. Third uncle, you have to save her life. The middle-aged man looked indifferent and said thoughtfully, a girl with 2 spiritual roots. There is still some value. Take it back and tame it with the soul-binding pill. Maybe it can be used by my family. Don't worry, I will keep it. Her life. Zhou Daoqing and the 4 of them moved forward. After several trips, they were already very familiar with the road to Beifeng City, especially Lin Yuan and Meng Yueshan, as casual cultivators who have been here all year round, are very aware of the distribution of nearby monsters and also know some hidden paths, which can save them a lot of trouble. This time we went to Beifeng City. Time was relatively tight, so we went very quickly. Sir, it's already dark. In front of you is Red Leaf Ridge. There are few monsters around. We can rest here for the night. Zhou Daoqing nodded and said, okay, you can make arrangements. At this time, Lin Yuan suddenly frowned and said, do you have any strange feeling? I always feel that there is someone behind me. There's someone behind you? Why didn't I feel it? Meng Yueshan touched his head and looked at Lin Yuan strangely. Lin Yuan was also a little unsure, maybe I feel wrong. I haven't had a good rest recently. Are you tossing and turning at night, burning with desire? You are missing Lon. Go away, you old bachelor. Oh, fuck. Zhou Daoqing looked at the 2 of them and felt disdainful in his heart. How could such a worldly mind and such messy desires go a long way in cultivation? The road to cultivating immortality requires steel-like will and courage. Only by enduring thousands of years of boring practice can you achieve enlightenment and become an immortal. If you are addicted to women, miss worldly desires, and have your mind corroded by beauty, then the road is over. Zhou Daoqing shook his head regretfully. If these 2 people could not have a pure heart like himself, they would definitely not be able to go far in the future. At this moment, Zhao Yunji suddenly frowned and said in a cold voice, Daoqing, I also have some bad premonitions. You and I can take care of each other tonight. Zhou Daoqing's eyes lit up and he immediately threw his iron will out of his mind. He grinned and said, okay, I'm sure you'll be satisfied. Zhao Yunji. Everyone is already very familiar with this series of steps for spending the night in the wild, skillfully finding caves, collecting dry wood to light a bonfire, and finding edible monsters. Everyone was working, only Zhou Daoqing stood aside, stretched out, and carefully looked at the surrounding environment. A large number of red maple trees grow here, and the ground is covered with red fallen leaves. The scenery is beautiful, I couldn't help but sigh. The environment here is beautiful, how can it be dangerous? I think you are still too vigilant, work more and relax. Zhao Yunji frowned, don't be careless when you go out. Okay Aunt Yunji, I've checked it carefully. If there is any danger, I will warn you. Zhao Yunji shook her head helplessly. Zhou Daoqing was sometimes mature and sometimes childish, which gave her an unpredictable feeling. Only Meng Yueshan and Lin Yuan were thoughtful and glanced meaningfully at Zhou Daoqing's back. Although Zhou Daoqing never revealed his skills to them, the two of them had more or less informed them after being in contact for a long time, thick, vast, solid, and endless. This is a pure earth attribute technique, and its quality is so terrifying that even the 9th level of chi refining cannot see through his strength. As for the characteristics of the earth attribute technique, in addition to being extremely defensive and durable, it is also very sensitive to the surrounding environment. What's more, Zhou Daoqing is also an array master, and his sensitivity to terrain and environment is definitely no worse than theirs, since others can sense the abnormalities around them. Zhou Daoqing must know more clearly, and can even discover many situations that others did not notice, but he did not say. Meng Yueshan and Lin Yuan looked at each other, then walked to Zhou Daoqing calmly, and asked cryptically, "Sir, have you discovered anything unusual? Do you want me to check it out?" Zhou Daoqing still had a smile on his face and lowered his voice. "It's okay, I'll handle it. Don't sleep too much at night." Hearing this, Meng Yueshan strengthened his thoughts. After nodding, he said nothing more and continued to prepare for accommodation, but he was just a little more vigilant. The dark forest, Qi Yunxiao frowned and asked in a low voice, "What are they whispering about? Have they discovered us?" That the middle-aged man stood with his hands behind his back, and said in a steady tone, "The gap between the 8th and 9th levels of Qi refining is greater than you think. I, your third uncle, will personally lead you on the road, so don't worry." "When do we start?" "Wait until late at night. They are not strong, but there are many of them. We must make sure that they are killed with one blow." "Okay, then wait until late at night." The bonfire crackled, and the legendary flames were reflected in the deep darkness. Zhou Daoqing had already lain down early, with a peaceful look, and he smacked his lips from time to time. Zhao Yunji looked at this scene and felt helpless. It was the most dangerous to spend the night in the wild. Most cultivators would sit cross-legged to practice, or close their eyes to rest. How could they really fall asleep? She didn't know whether Zhou Daoqing was really heartless or he was absolutely confident in his two subordinates who had conquered him with his domineering spirit. No matter which one it was, Zhao Yunji still chose to sit cross-legged to the side and practice to spend the night. As the night deepened, the bright moon hung above the treetops, and the roars of wild animals rose and fell, sounding deep and low in the dense forest. The charred charcoal made a crisp sound, and after burning most of its energy, the flames of the campfire were no longer hot, and the light was much dimmer. In the dead silence, the shoes rubbed against the grass, making a faint rustling sound, hidden in the night and not attracting attention. Chapter 62 Tit for Tat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The power of the 9th level of Qi refining tightly wrapped the aura around him, even completely covering his breathing, leaving no trace of aura fluctuation. Like the gaze of a poisonous snake, in the night as thick as water, a trace of cold light flashed, accompanied by the sharp edge of a sharp blade, swish. The power gathered at one point, the cold light swept past, and the terrifying and condensed power burst out instantly. Zhao Yunji, who was practicing with her eyes closed, opened her eyes immediately when she sensed the energy, and habitually touched the magic weapon, but in just a moment, she felt that her heart was grabbed by a giant hand, and she was suppressed by the powerful breath and had difficulty breathing. The gap between the 9th level of Qi refining and the 7th level of Qi refining is far greater than imagined. Whether it is momentum, strength of force, or reaction speed, they are not on the same level. Zhao Yunji's pupils contracted, and she saw that the magic weapon was stabbing, and it was almost impossible to avoid it. At the critical moment, Zhao Yunji gritted her teeth and tried her best to grab Zhou Daoqing's hair, trying to make a final struggle. Then the next moment, Zhou Daoqing's eyes opened instantly. His clear eyes were free of any sleepiness, as cold as a cold pond, reflecting the edge of the sharp blade. With a loud bang, a metal thorn vine attacked like a python, blocking the two wheels in an instant with its unparalleled momentum, blocking the momentum of the long sword attack, and flying to the other side. At the same time, Zhou Daoqing clapped his hands on the ground, and the mysterious array pattern on the ground emerged in an instant, and a complete array was constructed, with rich spiritual energy overflowing. The ground cracked, the earth and rocks flew across, and two thick thorn vines broke out of the ground, wrapped in the light of the golden spear, and rushed straight to the sky. Like a swimming giant snake, it coiled in front of Zhou Daoqing and completely protected him. although the attack was very powerful, it instantly broke through the golden spear on the outer layer of the thorn vine, causing huge damage, but it could not completely cut it and hurt Zhou Daoqing behind the thorn. Moreover, there was not just one thorny vine, but 3. "What is this?" A tall middle-aged man cried out in fear, his long sword in his hand trembling constantly, his eyes full of shock. He looked up at the huge thorny vine in front of him, took a step back in disbelief, and then looked at Zhou Daoqing and others on the ground with an ugly face. At this time, Meng Yueshan and Lin Yuan had also opened their eyes quickly, holding magic weapons and standing in front of Zhou Daoqing. And the aura of the 8th level of qi refining was like a wall. Blocking the front, the two did not fall asleep, and were even alert at all times. The magic weapons and mana were always ready to be mobilized. Even without the formation, with the speed of the two of them, they could instantly pull Zhou Daoqing away. Zhao Yunji sat there in a daze, her hair was a little messy, but she soon reacted and stood up alertly. Zhou Daoqing's pupils were bright, and a yellowish-brown light appeared under his clothes, completely wrapping himself. It was to resist possible dangers at all times, of course. Another reason was to prevent his thick hair from being pulled out. "Aunt Yunji, you can let go of my hair. I'm strong enough and don't need to be bald." A calm voice sounded. Although Zhao Yunji didn't understand, she quickly let go of her hand. The pulled hair was already shaky, which showed how strong it was. Rubbing his head, Zhou Daoqing stood up calmly, patted the dust on his body, and said in a cold voice, "Who are you? Why do you want to kill me?" After realizing the opponent's strength, Zhou Daoqing couldn't help but take a breath. Such a heavy breath, the strength is not weaker than the Wu Earth magic power in his body. This is definitely a strong man who has 90% of qi refining. It is equivalent to the existence of the family elders, and each of them is a person who can be on the stage. Zhou Daoqing was secretly shocked. Fortunately, he was prepared. Otherwise, if he was really stabbed by the opponent, it would be more likely to be dangerous. The middle-aged man looked at the scene in front of him, his face was uncertain, and after a simple analysis of the situation, he had already thought of retreating. After just one attack, he knew that the other party was well prepared. Moreover, the two 8th-level qi refining people, plus the powerful formation that could resist the 9th-level qi refining attack, greatly reduced the success rate of this sneak attack. What made him even more embarrassed was that he vaguely sensed that the young man lying flat on the ground was filled with an extremely strong spiritual fluctuation. Even this 9th-level qi refining strongman felt that he was as hard as a steel plate, and his strength was not weaker than his own. Seeing that the other party did not answer, Zhou Daoqing was thoughtful and speculated, "I have always been law-abiding and upright. I have never done evil and have not provoked many enemies. Are you from the qi family?" The middle-aged man's pupils contracted, but his psychological quality was extremely strong. He was not disturbed by Zhou Daoqing, but was thinking about what to do next. Continue to fight? Or leave? Before he made a decision, he heard the sound of a sharp blade coming out of its sheath behind him. The sharp long knife chopped instantly, and attacked in an extremely tricky way at an angle that no one expected, breaking through the obstruction of thorny vines in an instant and attacking Zhou Daoqing's younger generation. Even though Zhou Daoqing was fully prepared, he was also shocked by this attack. He didn't expect that there was a person hiding behind him. He couldn't help but secretly fear in his heart, if he pierces the defense, I will definitely be seriously injured. At such a critical moment, there was only a ding sound. It's a pity, the person coming couldn't pierce the defense. The long knife stabbed on the back of the heart, making a crisp sound, and the thick Wu Earth spiritual qi blocked it steadily, without even touching the clothes. Zhou Daoqing smacked his lips and patted his chest, thinking that it was a close call. Fortunately, his defense was strong enough, otherwise his clothes would have been pierced. This was his favorite purple robe, which made him look the most handsome and sexy. He would be very distressed if it was damaged. He turned his head and blinked at Qi Yunxiao, revealing a smile and said, "Long time no see, brother Qi, I guessed it was you." Qi Yunxiao looked like he had seen a ghost. Both of them were qi refining level 7 strong men, and he was at the peak of qi refining level 7. The powerful attack did not even pierce this person's defense. Impossible, impossible, absolutely impossible, you are definitely not at the qi refining level 7. Qi Yunxiao retreated again and again. Zhou Daoqing was about to take action to get rid of him directly, but he keenly sensed the danger behind him. The middle-aged man's attack had come again, and Zhou Daoqing had to immediately control the formation to defend. Qi Yunxiao was weak, so he could still treat him as a joke and take a blow from him, but facing the middle-aged man who had reached the 9th level of qi refining, he did not dare to be careless, even with the formation and his own Wu Tu magic power that was comparable to that of the 9th level of qi refining. He could not guarantee that he could kill the other party. Zhou Daoqing began to fully control the formation. Under his control, the 3 thorny vines were directly entangled together and twisted into a larger vine, like a wall blocking in front, protecting Zhou Daoqing and the other 4 behind. The first level superior long sword was powerful, and with the full force of the 9th level qi refining strongman, it actually cut off 1/3 directly, splitting the entire vine into a huge hole. The reason why it did not break completely was not because the vine was hard enough, but because it was so large that it could not be cut by a sword. Chapter 63, In Danger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Daoqing frowned. With the golden vine formation, he might be able to deal with the 8th level of qi refining, but he was a little powerless against the 9th level of qi refining. After only 2 exchanges, he felt a huge pressure. The middle-aged man also looked grim. According to his original plan, he would have directly eliminated Zhou Daoqing in the first sneak attack, but he never thought that the other party was already prepared. This made his long-prepared sneak attack useless, which led to the current situation. Although any one of the opponents was not his opponent, the joint battle was indeed difficult for him. After Zhou Daoqing blocked a blow, he immediately reacted and knew that defense was not a wise move, so he quickly turned from defense to offense. The 3 thorny vines spread out again, and from different angles, they continuously whipped the middle-aged man, and the offensive was continuous, like layers of huge waves. The attack intensity of the golden vine formation was not low, and the middle-aged man needed to spend a lot of energy to resist it, and stop the offensive instantly. Behind Zhou Daoqing, Meng Yueshan and the other 2 were not idle either, and they had already fought with the recovered Qi Yunxiao. As the young master of the Qi family, Qi Yunxiao had received the best training since he was a child and had the most abundant resources, so his combat power was very strong. He could use the first-grade top-grade magic tools freely, and with the tricky talismans, he showed extremely strong strength. Moreover, the Qi family was known for its elixirs, and the elixirs he carried were of various types and large quantities, enough to support Qi Yunxiao's long-term battle. Zhou Daoqing was secretly anxious in his heart. This battle was not suitable for delaying for too long. Once his mana was exhausted and he could no longer use the formation, he would have no power to fight back later. At the same time, he was also looking for an opportunity to use the gold split formation, but the use of the gold split formation required timing. Only when it was used at the right time and place could it achieve the greatest effect. Moreover, when the Qi family and the Spirit Snake sect fought for the mineral veins, they had long been pitted by the terrifying formation of the gold split formation. If I take it out rashly, it will not only fail to work, but it is also likely to attract the attention of the middle-aged man, so he will prepare in advance. Zhou Daoqing thought about the battle situation, skillfully manipulated the thorny vines, stared at the middle-aged man who was constantly turning and moving, and asked in a cold voice. Now that things have come to this, why don't you tell me why you want to kill me? Is it just because I have a grudge with Qi Yunxiao? That the middle-aged man dodged the vines and stood steadily on the ground. Do I need a reason to kill you? My Qi family cultivator died near Belan Lake. Do you think you can escape suspicion? There is no grudge between our 2 families. Do you think I would take the initiative to cause this trouble? Zhou Daoqing frowned and asked back. The middle-aged man said coldly, so what if you didn't participate? You let my Qi family cultivators be killed without helping. It's not too much to kill you today. Okay, your Qi family is really so arrogant, killing whoever they want. It really opened my eyes. Zhou Daoqing laughed in anger. He had been careful enough in his actions, but he never thought that the Qi family was still unreasonable and came thousands of miles to attack him without any evidence. This made him more determined. Fortunately, he took the initiative to cooperate with the Spirit Snake sect to help them win the rob of the mineral vein. Otherwise, if the Qi family occupied the mineral vein, Belan Lake would definitely not be at peace in the future. At this moment, Qi Yunxiao suddenly shouted loudly, "Uncle San, don't listen to his sweet talk, Uncle 16's death is definitely related to him. This boy is extremely skilled in controlling the formation, and with the strength of the 7th level of Qi refining, he can deal with you, a strong man of the 9th level of Qi refining. With such a strong control ability, this person is definitely a formation master. And the sudden possession of the formation by the Spirit Snake sect has many doubts. Now it seems that it is very likely related to this person. And this so-called Shanghai sect, maybe it is also a trick created by this person." After the voice fell, the middle-aged man's face showed something thoughtful, and he looked at the formation controlled by Zhou Daoqing with a scrutinizing gaze. He seemed to understand something and said with a little surprise, "So that's it, no wonder the formation is so strong, you are actually a formation master." Zhou Daoqing was secretly shocked, and his gloomy eyes had a hint of murderous intent. Qi Yunxiao's brain is really good, and he actually guessed the whole story just by relying on clues. Originally, Zhou Daoqing was still thinking of escaping if he could, but at this moment, he had changed his mind. A cold voice echoed in the darkness, "Meng Yuashan, Lin Yuan, don't hold back, kill him. The two men in front of him must not be let go, otherwise there will be endless troubles." After receiving Zhou Daoqing's order, Meng Yuashan also made a full-scale attack. No matter how strong Qi Yunxiao is, he is only at the 7th level of Qi refining, and he is not as good as Meng Yuashan and Lin Yuan together. Before, the reason why the two sides were able to deal with each other for so long was that they were worried that killing Qi Yunxiao rashly would lead to a desperate counterattack from the middle-aged man. So they did not dare to act ruthlessly, but now, if the two were allowed to leave, all the secrets they had hidden would be made public. Kill the Qi family cultivator. Possess the inheritance of the formation. The true identity of the Shanghai sect. There is even a powerful technique of his own. Every secret is a major weight, leaving Zhou Daoqing with no reason to retreat. Meng Yuashan and the other man looked at each other, knowing that the situation was serious. Their eyes instantly became sharp, the spiritual energy around them surged, and the magic weapons in their hands no longer showed any mercy. With the cooperation of each other, their combat power soared. In just a few breaths, a huge gash was cut on Qi Yunxiao's chest. Qi Yunxiao's eyes were bloodshot and he shouted with all his strength, "Third uncle." That the middle-aged man noticed the situation and knew that his opponent was really murderous, so he no longer hesitated and said coldly, "Boy, has Yunxiao exposed you? It seems that I really have a lot of secrets in you. You'd better think about how to survive." Ha 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 ha. The young man laughed and said disdainfully, "You really think I can't do anything with this formation? You should die." The rich spiritual energy from the 9th level of Qi refining exploded in an instant, and the middle-aged man rushed towards Zhou Daoqing as fast as lightning. "Humph, the thorn formation is indeed troublesome, but the size is too large. You do have an advantage in long-range combat, but if I let you get close, do you still have room to control the vines?" Zhou Daoqing's expression changed slightly. The middle-aged man was indeed experienced and found the weakness of the Golden Gu vine formation. In a short period of time, Golden Gu vine formation, for long-range combat, it can take advantage of the length of the thorn vines to greatly enhance the attack power. Even when fighting against a strong person at the 9th level of Qi refining, he will not be at a disadvantage. However, once the enemy breaks through the peripheral offensive and approaches the center of the formation, most of the attack methods will be useless. After all, he couldn't control the thorn vines to attack himself, especially when there is a big difference in strength between the enemy and the enemy. Once the enemy gets close, you are only qualified to be beaten passively, which is tantamount to trapping yourself in a prison. In a few breaths, Zhou Daoqing's situation seemed to become precarious. Chapter 64 Weakness. Trap. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In Zhou Daoqing's wide-open pupils, the middle-aged man avoided the attack of the vines at a terrifying speed and quickly approached with cunning movements. This scene made Meng Yuashan, Zhao Yunji and others behind them feel their hearts tightening in an instant. "Zhou Daoqing, get out of the way. Young master, don't fight him forcefully. Get out of the formation quickly. Damn it, go back and help." the adults are going to be fucked. You know you're anxious now. It's too late, that the middle-aged man did not just rely on speed. He stepped on a strange magic technique and burst out beyond the limit of speed in a short period of time, which was almost comparable to half-step foundation building. With just one breath, he rushed in front of Zhou Daoqing from dozens of feet away, and before anyone could react, he slashed with a fierce knife. The blade is wrapped in fire attribute aura, reflecting a bright red light, and the fluctuations in the aura are frightening. It is also not an ordinary sword, but a first-level high-grade spell inherited by the Qi family, the flame-breaking sword. Spells are extremely precious in the world of immortality, especially powerful spells, which can exert 200% of their power and are no less valuable than magical weapons, talismans, and formations. The power displayed by the sword of the middle-aged man in front of him reached the late stage of the 9th level of Qi refining. Just the heat wave that escaped made Zhao Yunji and others break out in cold sweat. Zhou Daoqing tried his best to pull back a thorn vine and blocked it in front of him in an attempt to stop him, but facing a full blow from the 9th level of Qi refining, it was nothing more than a mantis trying to block the car. In the horrified eyes of everyone, the flames accompanied by blazing light burned the Jin Gu on the outer layer of the thorn vines, directly melting them into molten iron and emitting wisps of black smoke. The next moment, a violent explosion sounded. The earth shook and the mountains shook. Huge firelight was mixed with thick black smoke. A large amount of dust rose from the ground. The violent collision of mana completely submerged the battle situation. Meng Yueshan tried to attack the formation, but was blown away by the powerful spiritual energy fluctuations and flew dozens of meters backwards. A mouthful of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were filled with fear. Lin Yuan was not much better and almost fell to the ground. They are all controlled by spiritual mysteries. Once Zhou Daoqing dies, their spirits will also be wiped out. One will prosper and the other will suffer. Looking at the flames in front of them, they seemed to see their own ending. Zhao Yunji was even more ambitious than capable. As the weakest being in the field, except for being useful when besieging Qi Yunxiao, he could not participate in other people's battles. Seeing Zhou Daoqing being drowned in the fire, Zhao Yunji's pupils suddenly became dazed. Although the two got married first and then fell in love, and it was arranged by their parents and the marriage was a family union, they were their Taoist couples after all. Along with the scorching firelight, the world seemed to be still, leaving only Qi Yunxiao's wanton laughter. Ha ha ha, with this kind of strength, you dare to be arrogant in front of my Qi family. Do you think that with a few formations, no one can be your opponent? In the end, you just become a stepping stone for me, Qi Yunxiao. Your white scale lake spiritual veins are mine. Your formation inheritance is mine. Your woman is mine too. Ha 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 ha. Qi Yunxiao looked at Zhao Yunji teasingly, and his lewd laughter became more and more shrill. TSK, 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 Zhao Yunji of the Zhao family, a genius with dual spiritual roots, is indeed the source of trouble for the Foundation establishment family. It's really wonderful. I wonder if selling you to Baihua House will cause the young masters of the family to fight for it. However, at this moment, a calm voice came from the smoke. I would like to ask, is your young master of the Qi family's brain a little atrophied? That everyone's pupils changed dramatically in an instant, and before they could react, they heard the violent sound of a huge object breaking through the ground, and then a thorny vine rose from the ground. Zhou Daoqing was surrounded by an earthy aura, standing on the top of the thorn vines, and instantly rushed dozens of meters into the air. An indifferent voice echoed, since you know that I am a formation. Master, why do you still think so naively that you can easily get close to me in my formation? That the sound fell, and in the formation where the smoke rose, the splitting gold formation, moved quickly. Under the blazing flames, a new formation pattern began to emerge, becoming more and more obvious. The middle-aged man's face was ugly, and he felt that the pattern in front of him seemed familiar. When the formation fully appeared and the golden-red blade appeared in the air, shining slightly, the middle-aged man lost his composure. Is this the mysterious formation of the spirit snake sect? You bastards, you are really colluding in secret. Zhou Daoqing smiled and said in a calm tone, didn't you already guess it a long time ago? Why are you still so surprised? Didn't you prepare in advance? I wonder if your Mr. Qi guessed it based on details and evidence, or just based on imagination. But it doesn't matter, since you know my secret, just keep it all. That the voice became more and more indifferent, until at the last sentence, it became extremely sonorous and powerful, like a judge of a mortal person. There is no need to take the initiative to touch the gold-red sharp blade in the splitting gold array. Zhou Daoqing's thoughts moved and his power was concentrated in it. In an instant, the first sharp blade exploded, and the explosion resounded through the sky. The auras of metal and fire were intertwined, colliding and impacting each other. The power of flames and gold collided with the middle-aged man. This is just the beginning. After flying, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, once the cracking gold formation started, the continuous explosions could not be controlled at all. Even Zhou Daoqing could not control this power and could only allow all the energy to be used up before withdrawing the formation. Moreover, after the first use, Zhou Daoqing discovered a serious problem, that is, the array plate of the splitting gold array, that had been used once was slightly damaged. This was not an accident, but because the power of the splitting gold array was too strong, which directly damaged the array plate itself. This means that the splitting gold array can be used far less times than ordinary arrays, and it may be completely broken after 3 or 4 uses. For example, the array plate of the Spirit Snake sect was completely destroyed when the Qi family's 9th-level Qi training cultivator was surrounded and killed. However, even so, it cannot cover up the terrifying effect of the split gold array. Zhou Daoqing stood on the top of the thorny vines, and jumped down immediately when the splitting gold array erupted, away from the range of the split gold array. From the beginning to the end, he arranged the splitting gold array under his feet. This was an extremely risky and bold choice, but the effect was surprisingly good. Of course, this choice was also based on many considerations. Compared with outsiders, as the owner of the array, how could he not know the weaknesses of his own array? But the best way to deal with weaknesses is not to hide or avoid them, but to correctly understand and use them. This is my weakness, and isn't it also a trap I set myself? Chapter 65, Silencing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Witnessing the flames that were more terrifying than the flame-breaking blade, Zhou Daoqing added more fuel to the fire, controlling 3 thorny vines to pull them towards the center of the explosion, and surrounding them like a city wall to prevent the enemy from escaping. This approach would actually increase his losses again. After all, within the range of the gold-breaking formation, the golden vine formation would also be affected by more violent attacks, and there was a high probability that it would be directly destroyed in the end, but Zhou Daoqing could accept such losses. He must ensure that after this attack, the middle-aged man at the 9th level of Qi refining would be killed, or at least severely injured and unable to resist. The continuous attacks of the gold-breaking formation lasted for more than a dozen breaths, and the entire formation range was completely filled with blazing flames, and the surrounding trees, ground, soil and rocks were melted. When the energy of the formation was completely consumed and the movement slowed down, there was silence on the scene. Zhou Daoqing, Meng Yueshan, and Lin Yuan saw the gold-splitting formation for the second time, but they were still extremely shocked. Their hearts could not help but beat violently, and they retreated under control. Qi Yunxiao was also completely stunned, staring at this scene with a dull look. Just as Zhou Daoqing said, he guessed that Zhou Daoqing killed the Qi family cultivators, and guessed that Zhou Daoqing was related to the Shanhai sect, and even guessed about the formation, but everything was just speculation. He never expected that Zhou Daoqing actually had a set of gold-splitting formation, and even boldly arranged it under his feet as a trap to lure the enemy into the field, and finally relied on the perfect cooperation of another set of formations to completely keep himself out of the matter. The successive means dealt a great blow to Qi Yunxiao. After a long pause, there was only one thought left in his mind: it's over. With such a powerful attack, even a 9th-level Qi refining strongman would have to peel off a layer of skin if he didn't die. Among all the people, Zhao Yunji was the most surprised. Her surprised pupils reflected the firelight, and she looked at Zhou Daoqing's tall and straight back, as if she was looking at a cloud of fog. What Qi family cultivator? What Spirit Snake sect? What Shanhai sect? What formation? She knew nothing, and only saw this terrifying battle. Her young Taoist partner had planned everything and killed a 9th-level Qi training expert. At this moment, she realized that she might never have known this Taoist partner. Zhou Daoqing looked at the situation in the center of the formation seriously, frowned slightly, and his spiritual energy fluctuated, including in important parts of his body. He vaguely felt that there was still a weak vitality, and the splitting gold formation did not directly kill this strong man. He did not choose to approach rashly, but waited silently. Whether the middle-aged man was seriously injured and unconscious, or had other plans, Zhou Daoqing planned to adapt to all changes. While waiting, he turned his head silently to look at Qi Yunxiao, signaling Meng Yueshan and Lin Yuan to control him. Then at this moment, a dark figure suddenly rushed out of the splitting gold formation, and a weak breath burst out at a terrifying speed, and rushed towards Qi Yunxiao in an instant. "Hurry up, Yunxiao, go back and report this to the family." A hoarse voice sounded, and a pair of big hands slapped Qi Yunxiao, slapping him dozens of meters away, out of the encirclement of Meng Yueshan and others. The situation changed so quickly that Zhou Daoqing didn't react. When he turned around again, he saw a middle-aged man with a charred body lying on the ground, almost dying. And Qi Yunxiao also flew a long distance away. Meng Yueshan was about to catch up, but was stopped. Zhou Daoqing just shook his head calmly. An extremely weak voice sounded beside him. "Hey, cough cough cough, no. I didn't expect you to be so cunning and so courageous. You dug a fire pit for me to jump into. I really miscalculated. My Mo Yunshan Qi family, a dignified 1,000-year-old family, was actually played around by a junior like you. You can't stand it, but, that's it. As long as Yunxiao brings the news back to the family, cough cough cough." When he weakly raised his head and looked into Zhou Daoqing's eyes, he didn't see the expected anger. Zhou Daoqing just looked at him calmly. The middle-aged man grinned and said, "I wonder if I can ask you a question. When did you find us?" Zhou Daoqing's eyes moved slightly, and he said absent-mindedly, "When we came out of Balan Lake." "No. Impossible. How could you have found us so early? I used the 9th level of Qi refining as a cover, and it is absolutely impossible for you to find us." The middle-aged man was full of disbelief. Zhou Daoqing looked at him like a fool, curled his lips and said, "You only care about the breath, but when you came to the shore of Balan Lake, didn't you wipe out the footprints on the ground?" "Footprints?" The middle-aged man was confused for a moment, and asked in confusion, "Isn't it normal for footprints to appear around the base?" "It is normal. But our Zhou family doesn't use the soles of shoes with 6 auspicious cloud patterns." Just because of this, Zhou Daoqing was absent-minded, glanced at the middle-aged man lightly, and suddenly asked, "Isn't this enough? And you talk to me so much, are you trying to buy a chance for Qi Yunxiao to escape?" "This. But do you think I will let him go?" After speaking, the middle-aged man's pupils shrank suddenly. "You." Zhou Daoqing's face showed a look of joy, and his right hand hidden in his sleeve was slightly floating with spiritual energy, and he whispered softly, "Caught." The next moment, a huge thorny vine emerged from the jungle in the distance and entangled a young man. It was Qi Yunxiao who was trying to escape. Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man's teeth were chattering. He just wanted to roar, but was unable to do so. Only at this moment did he understand why the young man in front of him was chatting with him so much. He was secretly manipulating the formation to capture Qi Yunxiao. However, before he could continue to speak, the magic weapon in Meng Yueshan's hand had already struck and cut off his head. Zhou Daoqing couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he looked at the dead middle-aged man and Qi Yunxiao, who was recaptured. Although most of the golden Gu vine formation was destroyed, with only one thorn vine left, Qi Yunxiao was also seriously injured, so he still caught it after all. At this moment, Qi Yunxiao screamed in horror and kept struggling, his eyes full of fear and fear. "Let me go. If you kill me, the Qi family will never let you go, and they will not stop fighting. Let me go, today. The matter is clear between you and me." Poof! Zhou Daoqing didn't talk nonsense. The thorns and vines tightened his body, the flesh and blood collapsed, the bones were misaligned, and the breath of life gradually dissipated. "It's over. Zhou Daoqing looked at the two corpses in front of him, still with a trace of fear in his eyes. The Qi family's desire for revenge was stronger than he imagined, which made him feel a strong sense of uneasiness. Moreover, if he killed a 9th-level Qi refining expert and the young master of the Qi family today, there would be endless consequences. Chapter 66 I Like Young Women. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There is no airtight wall in the world. Even if it is hidden this time, the Qi family will definitely be able to detect something. He could only hope that Shan Heizong's reputation would arouse the fear of the Qi family and not dare to act rashly. When everything was over, Zhou Daoqing suddenly looked at Zhao Yunji with regret and helplessness. Zhao Yunji, you shouldn't have come out with me this time, you shouldn't have seen so many things, and you shouldn't have known so many secrets. Zhao Yunji was stunned for a moment, and couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. You want to kill people and silence them? Should I believe you? Zhou Daoqing looked complicated. This time, he has exposed too many secrets: the inheritance of the formation, the identity of the Shanhai sect, the killing of the Qi family monks. If any secret is exposed, it may bring disaster to the Zhou family and put him, Zhou Daoqing, into a desperate situation. After all, Zhao Yunji was not from the Zhou family, but was forced to marry him, Zhou Daoqing. If she had second thoughts, the consequences would be disastrous. Zhao Yunji also looked complicated. You and I have the name of husband and wife, and we also have the reality of husband and wife. The name was given by the family, but it is not entirely voluntary on your part. If you have the chance, would you also want to get rid of your current status? You don't need to deny this. I, Zhou Daoqing, am not a stupid person. As the daughter of Erling Genshin, you women, of course, are not willing to be reduced to this, and you and I know this very well. Zhao Yunji smiled bitterly and couldn't find a reason to refute for a while. He just looked at the familiar face of the young man in front of him and felt a little strange. Then what are you going to do? Kill me? Zhou Daoqing shook his head and said, I have a spiritual secret method, are you willing to use it? The secret method of mind control. Zhao Yunji's face turned pale, as if he had thought of it. He looked at Meng Yueshan and Lin Yuan next to him, with a look of understanding on his face. I see. What if I don't want to? Zhou Daoqing thought for a moment and said in a deep voice, I will still believe you once and let you leave, but if I find out that you leaked the news, I will kill you again. Zhao Yunji took a deep look at the person in front of him, full of coldness. After a long time, he replied, use the secret method. I don't believe you will really let me go. Zhou Daoqing touched his nose and said solemnly, I, Zhou Daoqing, have always been honest and trustworthy. I am an upright person. I never go back on my words, let alone deceive others. Ha! Zhao Yunji sneered and said disdainfully, every time you come to ask for advice on cultivation problems at night, you are always so high-sounding, and you like to touch your nose when you lie. Zhou Daoqing's face turned red and he coughed a few times to hide his embarrassment. Unexpectedly, his little personality was clearly noticed by others, which really made him blush. Forget it, I, Zhao Yunji, come from the Zhao family, and I have a strong family tradition. Since I marry you, I will be your Zhou Daoqing. This mysterious magic. I will accept it. Seeing Zhao Yunji's determined look, Zhou Daoqing sighed helplessly. He didn't dare to gamble, so he could only be cruel. After condensing a mysterious method, Zhao Yunji looked indifferent and did not resist. When the process of the secret method was completely completed, Zhou Daoqing took out a breath and showed a relaxed smile. Yunji, I'm really sorry. Zhao Yunji's face was as frosty as he glanced at Zhou Daoqing coldly and uttered two words, get out. Oh shit, didn't you just say you were mine? Zhou Daoqing had a toothache, Zhao Yunji said with a haha sneer, indeed, now that you are using spiritual magic to control me, I should be considered your slave now. It doesn't have to be like this. I have no choice but to do it. Looking at Zhou Daoqing's guilty eyes, Zhao Yunji's face turned frosty, he bowed slightly, and in an extremely cold tone, said four words that Zhou Daoqing unexpectedly said, good master. I'm riding a horse. Zhou Daoqing's face turned green, and the corners of his mouth couldn't stop twitching. seeing such an exciting scene, Meng Yueshan turned around with great knowledge and whistled into the night sky. Lin Yuan was extremely ignorant and was still watching with wide eyes, but was pulled away by Meng Yueshan. Ahem, Aunt Yunji, is this still you? Zhou Daoqing tried to lighten the atmosphere with a joking tone, but I never thought that Zhao Yunji still had a frosty face and said coldly, if the master likes this style, Yunji can change into a young woman's dress. Zhou Daoqing couldn't help but his eyes lit up. How do you know I like young women? Then can you wear silkmore stockings? The surprised gaze met a pair of even colder eyes. That, I was joking. As he finished speaking, he saw a black thread suddenly flying from not far away, with a sexy cloud pattern, soft lace texture, and a brand new, unused ultra-thin model. Master, I have it, Lin Yuan shouted in a low voice. Zhao Yunji couldn't help but close his eyes and inhale, feeling that his chest was clogged. He glanced at the stockings coldly, turned around and left. Zhou Daoqing's head was instantly filled with black lines. Turning around, he grabbed Lin Yuan's collar and said, "You bitch, are you ruining my good deeds? And you're using the fucking spirit stone I gave you to buy this thing? Young man, you have misunderstood. The stockings were on sale some time ago, at a historically low price." Which store? Orange Adult, Peach Lane, Beifeng City, Store 302. This trip was eventually interrupted by an accident. Gold Splitting Formation, and Golden Vine Formation, were all destroyed, and the strength plummeted. The strong sense of insecurity made Zhou Daoqing finally choose to stop and delay the time to go to Beifeng City. Without the protection of the formation, he really didn't have the confidence to set off again. Collecting the storage bags of the middle-aged man and Qi Yunxiao, Zhou Daoqing began to check the harvest this time, although the loss was heavy this time. It must be said that the inventory in the storage bags of these two people was still very rich. There were more than 800 spirit stones alone, and the rest were a large number of resources and monster materials, worth about 500 spirit stones. The rest of the magic tools, pills, talismans and other items have been used up in the battle. Except for a small amount of cheap pills, there are only a few magic tools that have not been destroyed. Among them, Qi Yunxiao has a set of beaching armor, which is of the first-class quality. Zhou Daoqing chose to wear it for himself. Zhou Daoqing gave Zhao Yunji the first-grade superior cold sword. Her magic weapon was only the first-grade medium-grade one, which she had recently earned herself to buy. After all, the Zhao family was weak, and it was difficult to have extra spirit stones to equip Zhao Yunji with magic weapons. Meng Yueshan and Lin Yuan did not need the rest of the magic weapons. They all had their own magic weapons, and the quality was also up to the first-grade superior. Meng Yueshan saw that Zhou Daoqing only took a set of inner armor, and asked worriedly, "Sir, don't you need to equip another attack magic weapon?" Zhou Daoqing shook his head and said indifferently, "These magic weapons are not suitable for me, and saving life is more useful than attacking." Meng Yueshan thought about it and recalled his son's fighting style, so he didn't say much. After all, during Zhou Daoqing's battle, all his attack methods came from the formation, and he only had to be responsible for saving his life. Chapter 67 Alchemy Inheritance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is not because he is going to extremes, but because the characteristics of the Wu Tu Kun Yugong make him feel that this way of fighting is more cost-effective. Since he has practiced the Wu Tu Kun Yugong, his offensive ability is doomed to be seriously insufficient, so it is better to make up for his shortcomings and further use his own characteristics to strengthen his defense. As for the means of attack, other methods can be used to make up for it, and the formation is a very good choice. It is precisely because of his terrifying defense that he can resist the breaking flame knife of the 9th-level Qi refining man and then retreat unscathed. Others only saw his layout and saw his strategy of putting himself in a desperate situation and luring the enemy deep into his heart, but only the dead 9th-level Qi refining cultivator knew how strong Zhou Daoqing's defense was. In addition to spirit stones, materials, magic tools, elixirs, etc., Zhou Daoqing found a surprising item in Qi Yunxiao's storage bag after searching. This is the inheritance of alchemy. Looking at the book in front of him, Zhou Daoqing's eyes lit up. It records in detail the process of refining elixirs, the selection and refining of medicinal materials, and several elixir recipes, which can prove the value of this book. Even Zhao Yunji, who left indifferently, was attracted back by this book, with a surprised look on her face. After some inspection, Zhou Daoqing found that this should be the formation inheritance of the Qi family of Imo Yunshan, but it was not a complete inheritance. The complete elixir inheritance of the Qi family should be able to reach the second-level middle grade or above, and the highest quality elixir recipe in the book in front of him is only the first-level upper grade. Moreover, the number of elixir recipes is pitifully small, with only 6 kinds. Among them, 3 first-level lower-grade ones are Qi-nourishing elixir, Qi-replenishing elixir, and blood-clotting elixir. 2 first-level middle-grade ones are Qi-blood elixir and rejuvenating elixir. 1 first-level upper grade is the condensing elixir. There is no doubt that they are all the most common elixir, and their functions are mainly divided into 2 types, restoring mana and treating injuries. The only gratifying thing is that this elixir book has complete introductory knowledge of elixir, which should be used to train novice alchemists. Meng Yueshan was full of surprise, and couldn't help but say, "Great, this is actually a set of elixir inheritance. We can be self-sufficient in elixir in the future." Zhou Daoqing glanced at him and asked, "You come to learn alchemy?" Meng Yueshan blinked, scratched his head and said, "I'm over 40, I don't have this brain, I can't learn it." "Lin Yuan, you are young." Lin Yuan shook his head like a rattle, and quickly refused. "I have 3 spiritual roots of water, wood and gold, which are not suitable for alchemy." Zhou Daoqing also shook his head helplessly. Alchemists and weapon refiners also have considerable requirements for spiritual roots. The most suitable ones are gold and fire spiritual roots, which can achieve twice the result with half the effort. The two looked at Zhao Yunji and greeted a plain sentence: water and wood spiritual roots. Oh, in the end, he has a fire spiritual root. However, he has already gone a long way in formation, and has made considerable achievements, so it is naturally impossible for him to turn to learning alchemy. As for learning 2 skills at the same time, it is also impossible. Every cultivator has limited energy and time to learn skills. Zhou Daoqing put most of his energy on cultivation and a small part on formations, which is already very strenuous. If he continues to learn alchemy, it may seriously affect the improvement of his strength. "Sir, I remember Qin Lai seems to have a fire spirit root." Lin Yuan suddenly said. Zhou Daoqing's eyes lit up, but after thinking about it, he shook his head with some regret. "Qin Lai is too old, it's a bit strenuous to learn." Meng Yueshan looked strange and reminded carefully, "Sir, Qin Lai is not really old, he is 30 years old, he just looks older." "Yes, it should be because he has done too many bad things and aged prematurely." Lin Yuan echoed. Zhou Daoqing looked at Lin Yuan helplessly, always feeling that if he continued to speak so freely, he would be beaten sooner or later. However, the 2 people's proposals also gave Zhou Daoqing some ideas. If Qin Lai is really suitable, he can be trained. The requirements are not high. Just train a first-level alchemist. Many first-level elixirs are essential for cultivation. Whether it is to restore mana or repair injuries, they are indispensable on weekdays. If you go to Beifeng City to buy them, it will not only consume a lot of spirit stones, but also the journey is very long, which is extremely inconvenient. Then let's go back and try. After sorting out the harvest this time, the sky was already dawn. The 4 of them took a simple rest for a while and then set off on the return journey. After learning about Zhou Daoqing's terrifying strength, Zhao Yunji was no longer in a hurry to sell the silk inner armor. How could a formation master who has his own power, leads many 8th-level Qi refining masters, and is proficient in formations be short of spirit stones? Moreover, these hidden means have far more potential than imagined. How could he still think about competing for the position of the head of the Zhou family? Zhao Yunji had previously thought that Zhou Daoqing chose the smallest island and stayed on it every day without going out. He must be a person without ambition and was not capable of competing with his 2 brothers. As a Taoist partner, she still needed to find a way to assist Zhou Daoqing to prevent him from not being able to take out the most basic 1,300 spirit stones in the end and losing too badly. But now it seems that she was just overthinking. The means and scheming that Zhou Daoqing showed this time, as well as the hidden strength, made Zhao Yunji feel amazed and even incomprehensible. Looking at Zhou Daoqing, who had returned to peace and laziness, Zhao Yunji couldn't help but have a thought in her mind. if he had maintained his previous domineering attitude, it might not be unacceptable. Returning to Barren Lake. Seeing the rippling lake, everyone's uneasy hearts calmed down. It is inevitable to worry when going out. After returning to their own cave, they will relax physically and mentally, and their sense of security will also increase a lot. Looking at this beautiful lake, Zhou Daoqing secretly made up his mind that he must make this place of shelter as solid as a rock, so that it can develop for a long time in the future, especially after this sneak attack. It is necessary to prepare as many formations as possible to prevent encountering such a situation again. If it were not for the protection of Splitting Gold Formation, and Golden Vine Formation, he would definitely be in danger this time. He has secretly made up his mind to stay in Barren Lake in the valley as much as possible in the future, reduce the frequency of going out, and focus on developing and strengthening his strength. If there is a situation where he has to go out, it is better to leave it to Meng Yuashan and Lin Yuan to complete it. The two are casual cultivators, and they are more experienced in going out alone, and it is not easy to attract the enemy's prying. This experience also made Zhou Daoqing's behavior much more stable. The boat rowed to Zhao Yunji's island. Zhou Daoqing smiled and said, "Aunt Yunji, the beautiful growing time is coming to an end, see you next time." But after saying that, Zhao Yunji didn't move, staring at Zhou Daoqing quietly, and said lightly, "Why don't you take me to your island to have a look?" Chapter 68, Ancestral Secret Recipe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Daoqing blinked. "Why are you going to my place? Aren't all islands the same? It's no different from yours. Then don't you like the young woman? I will move in with you personally and give you silkmore gauze socks to wear." How about that? That he spoke the most seductive words, but his voice was like a cold spring in the mountains, leaving Zhou Daoqing without any evil thoughts. Coupled with his slightly narrowed beautiful eyes, Zhou Daoqing scratched his head for a moment. Although he has used the secret method, Zhou Daoqing does not want too many people to know some secrets. "Did you hide other women on the island?" "Not really." "Is it a man?" As he said that, he glanced at Meng Yuashan and Lin Yuan in surprise, showing an expression of sudden realization. "I understand." Zhou Daoqing said, "What do you understand?" Seeing that Zhao Yunji was about to leave the boat with sympathetic and apologetic eyes, Zhou Daoqing sighed, "Forget it, if you want to go together, then get on the boat." "Good." Seeing Zhao Yunji sitting back on the boat, Zhou Daoqing felt helpless. He knew that Zhao Yunji was determined to explore his secret. He had nothing to do about it. If Zhao Yunji was an outsider, he could naturally refuse sternly, but now that Zhao Yunji was one of his own and his Taoist companion, he couldn't be too harsh. Paddling across the long lake, the gentle sunlight shines down, and white-scaled bass leap out of the water from time to time, their scales reflecting the dazzling light. During this period, you have to find an opportunity to catch a batch of white-scaled bass. Only by fishing out the big batch can the small fry have a chance to thrive. Zhou Daoqing wrapped his hands with spiritual energy, grabbed a white-scaled bass weighing more than 10 kilograms, and thought about it. White-scaled bass live in this lake all year round. Although the number is not large, there is definitely a lot. Especially if you fish for the first time, you should be able to harvest a large number of fish. Lin Yuan looked at the water surface boredly, and suddenly became energetic and said, "Can we eat it? I have a unique recipe, which uses refined salt and tangerine to marinate fish, and then pairs it with fresh bamboo shoots. The taste is amazing." Zhou Daoqing thought about it for a while and felt that something was wrong. Bamboo shoots? What bamboo shoots? After a few seconds, he suddenly reacted and said with a black face, "If you dare to touch my boiling bamboo shoots, I will beat you into bamboo shoots and plant them in the ground." Lin Yuan shrank his neck and defended in a low voice, "There are also things in the wild." On the side, Meng Yuashan also looked eager, but he didn't want to drink fish soup or eat bamboo shoots. Instead, he smacked his lips and said, "I also have a recipe. Use the spirit fish eyes to brew wine, which can nourish qi and blood and improve your strength." Zhou Daoqing was a little curious. "Where did you get so many formulas?" "Hee, it's passed down from our ancestors." Meng Yuashan grinned. Zhou Daoqing thought thoughtfully, "Last time you used the recipe for Lin Yuan's whip to make wine. Is it possible that it was also passed down from our ancestors? As soon as these words came out, Lin Yuan's face turned the color of pig liver, and he looked at Meng Yueshan with hatred. He still remembers the humiliation of baby soaking in wine. However, Meng Yueshan thought about it seriously and said, "This is really not inherited from my ancestors, but I can consider passing this formula on to my descendants. My surname is Meng, I am $@$$ $##$. Zhou Daoqing suddenly shuddered when he saw this scene. He suddenly had some new understanding of the 4 words ancestral formula. No wonder some formula materials are rare. There is only one in an era. Once used up, it will be gone. Moreover, it is easy to become extinct. This is the reason for co-authoring. In a leisurely atmosphere, Zhou Daoqing returned to the island, ignoring the quarrel between the 2 old men. Zhao Yunji followed Zhou Daoqing and looked at the island curiously. Soon, 8 acres of scattered spiritual fields appeared in front of them. The newly planted moonflower grass and crystal jade rice reveal their tender green buds, swaying gently in the breeze, and the moist soil exudes rich aura. Zhao Yunji frowned slightly, bent down and grabbed a handful of moist soil, thinking to himself, they are all first-order middle-grade spiritual fields, and the concentration of spiritual energy in this soil is so high. How can this be done? It's a mixture of spiritual dung, green-winged heron excrement and spiritual water. Zhou Daoqing said nonchalantly. I see, no wonder, huh? Spiritual feces. Zhao Yunji's expression changed. He took a deep breath, threw away the soil in his hands, secretly used water attribute spiritual energy to wash his hands, and said angrily, why didn't you tell me in advance? Zhou Daoqing looked innocent, spread his hands and said, you grabbed the ground as soon as you came. Although I don't understand, I respect you. Zhao Yunji pursed her lips. Although she had no evidence, she always felt that this guy was holding back his bad intentions. However, out of curiosity, she still raised her own question. If you go to collect green-winged heron feces, the green-winged heron won't attack you? Zhou Daoqing frowned and asked, isn't what you collected fresh feces? Is there a problem? Zhou Daoqing said speechlessly, the fresh ones are useless. We need the parts that have been thoroughly fermented and integrated with the soil. Forget it. I will ask them to collect an extra portion next time and send some to you. Zhou Daoqing has never forgotten the 2 specialties near Belan Lake. White-scaled base cannot usually be used, but the value of green-winged heron excrement is not small, especially on weekdays. Zhou and others take care of the spiritual field for a long time and need to ensure the healthy growth of the spiritual plants, so they often need to water and fertilize. The water poured is spiritual water, and the fertilizer is green-winged heron excrement. At first, Zhou and others had no experience, so they just watered the spiritual liquid and fertilizer separately, but after a long time, they also figured out some experience, and according to some formulas of growth liquid, they began to mix it themselves, mix the spiritual water and fertilizer in a certain proportion, and then add some spiritual plant juice that helps to enhance vitality to make a fertilizer with good effect. Zhou Daoqing called it Qinglu fertilizer liquid, which is also a unique formula with low technical content. This is the advantage of having many people. If he were to take care of the spiritual field alone, he would definitely not spend so much time and effort, let alone create this special fertilizer. But Zhou and others, in addition to daily practice, all their thoughts are on planting. Zhou Daoqing has decided that if he can buy books on planting, or the inheritance of spiritual plant masters, he can let Zhou study it. It's just that spiritual plant masters are also a profound immortal cultivation skill. Although they are not as good as alchemy formations, they are definitely not common. After checking the spiritual field, Zhao Yunji realized that she had been worrying for nothing. Why did Zhou Daoqing need her support? This 8-acre first-grade medium-quality spiritual field alone could bring a lot of wealth. Chapter 69 Strengthening the Foundation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Moreover, this is a spiritual field that is irrigated with spiritual water and fertilizer all year round and can be used without restraint. Generally speaking, ordinary spiritual fields need to rest for a period of time to restore fertility every few years after planting. This is a very important skill. After walking around the island, Zhao Yunji looked at the entrance of the underground cave and asked, "Can I go down?" Zhou Daoqing thought for a moment and said sternly, "No, not even wearing silk more stockings." Zhao Yunji saw Zhou Daoqing's serious attitude and understood his bottom line, so he nodded obediently. Zhou Daoqing needed to cover up the situation in the underground cave. Not only Zhao Yunji could not enter, but Meng Yueshan and others were also prohibited from entering. It's not that I don't trust them, it's that some items exist, and it would be a mistake to let outsiders know about them. However, since Zhao Yunji has been accepted, it is equivalent to letting her join his own force, so there is no need to hide the situation in the valley. After passing through the damp and dark mountain passage, his eyes suddenly opened up. Zhao Yunji looked at the vibrant scene in front of him and was shocked, speechless for a moment. After a long time, he looked at Zhou Daoqing meaningfully and said inexplicably, "Zhou Daoqing, you hide it deeply enough." No matter how she guessed, she could never guess that Zhou Daoqing actually hid a valley. The size of this valley is hardly weaker than that of a small force, and it is even superior to some qi refining forces in terms of all aspects of conditions, first-class high-grade spiritual veins. The spiritual field fills the entire valley, with higher quality and a large number of yellow thorn vines planted. Fish and shrimps are swimming, green water plants are floating, and there is a spiritual spring pool filled with spiritual energy. On the cliff, there are cultivation caves arranged neatly. In the corner of the valley, the earth-yellow mysterious formation patterns continue to operate. Every detail made Zhao Yunji feel like a dream. He couldn't believe that this was a paradise built by a boy in his early 20s in just 1 year. What shocked her even more was that there was a man here who was at the 8th level of qi refining. When he saw Zhou Daoqing come in, he respectfully called him young master. Seeing Zhao Yunji on the side, Qin Lai thought for a moment and shouted respectfully, "Madam." Zhao Yunji responded silently, not yet fully adapted. Returning to his own territory, Zhou Daoqing also relaxed a lot. No matter what kind of danger he encountered outside, he would feel at ease once he returned here. More importantly, there is a splitting gold formation in the valley, and Meng Yueshan, Lin Yuan, and Qin Lai are all here. This is when Zhou Daoqing is the most powerful. The sense of security brought by strength cannot be replaced by any other item. Qin Lai was a little confused and asked, "Sir, why are you back so soon? Could there be some accident?" Zhou Daoqing roughly explained what happened. After listening, Qin Lai's expression became solemn, and he felt frightened just by listening to it. Facing the deliberate sneak attack by the 9th level qi refining expert, he relied on formation methods to forcefully reverse the balance of victory, and finally killed the enemy and escaped. "Return to White Scale Lake," Qin Lai solemnly said. "Well, after this incident, the Qi family with Mo Yunshan will probably really fight to the death." Zhou Daoqing shook his head slightly, with a hint of coldness in his eyes. "The Qi family will fight with us until death." I should let them wait for my revenge." Qin Lai asked in confusion, "Master, do you want to take action against the Qi family? We will meet sooner or later." Zhou Daoqing explained, "If Qi Yunxiao is allowed to pass the news back to the Qi family, our identities will be exposed, and they will naturally not let us go. But now, strong men from the Qi family have disappeared nearby one after another, which has further confirmed the existence of the Shanhai sect. There is also a secret threat from the Spirit Snake sect, and they dare not approach easily. So in the future, we will be safer. This is a great opportunity to improve our strength. Once our strength improves, we will not be afraid of the whole family." Although he narrowly escaped death, Zhou Daoqing never thought of letting it go. This hatred forged for no reason needs to be filled with blood. It's just that now, the Shanhai apostles have their own appearance, and it still needs time to develop and grow. Zhou Daoqing thought to himself, pondering the next development. After a long time, he looked at one person and said, "Huanghua, go and make arrangements. Half of all the first-level middle-grade yellow thorn vines will be harvested and then sent to the island." Half. Huanghua couldn't help asking, as if he couldn't believe his ears. Zhou Daoqing nodded. "We can't expect that all yellow thorn vines can reach the first level. We need to improve our strength as soon as possible. Let's do it as soon as possible." Huanghua nodded seriously, then immediately turned around and headed to the cliff cave, summoning several members of the 7th level of qi refining to harvest the yellow thorn vine together. Zhou Daoqing turned to look at Meng Yuashan again and asked, "Old Meng, are you responsible for the recent transaction with the Spirit Snake sect?" Meng Yuashan nodded and said, "Yes, I am responsible for the receipt of formation materials and daily communication and cooperation." "Okay, next time I contact the Spirit Snake sect, I will try to deepen the cooperative relationship. Let's say that we add one more set of golden vine formation every year in exchange for some formation materials. I will give you the specific list later." Meng Yuashan didn't ask any questions and agreed directly. The materials he needs this time are auxiliary materials for laying out the formation. They are not as important as the core materials, and the price is relatively cheap, but the dosage is relatively large. I originally planned to buy some when I went to Beifang City, but now I encountered an unexpected situation and it was delayed. Zhou Daoqing also wanted to try it out, whether he could buy it directly from the Spirit Snake sect, which would save a lot of trouble. After explaining to Meng Yuashan, Zhou Daoqing immediately looked at Qin Lai and handed over the alchemy book. "Young master, what is this?" Qin Lai asked in confusion. "Introduction to Alchemy, are you interested in trying it?" Zhou Daoqing asked with a trial attitude. Learning alchemy is not just about having a fire attribute spiritual root, it is more about talent and fate. If you don't have this talent, even a single fire attribute spiritual root will be useless. Alchemy skills. Qin Lai has a steady personality, and after thinking for a while, he nodded and said, "I can try, but it may not work. I hope you don't have too much hope." Zhou Daoqing just patted him on the shoulder and encouraged him, "Don't be stressed, I don't have much hope either." Qin Lai's face darkened, and he was a little helpless. "Young master, if you really don't know how to encourage, then don't encourage." Zhou Daoqing assigned tasks to almost everyone to improve the overall strength of the valley as much as possible. The foundation of a power never depends on a single individual, but is the result of many factors, including strength, inheritance, the supply of elixirs, magic tools, talismans, inheritance of skills, diplomatic cooperation, etc. What he is doing now is to enrich the structure of Shanghai sect as much as possible, so as to strengthen the foundation. Of course, this also includes himself, whether it is personal strength or formation skills, they all need to be improved. Chapter 70 Fishing for White Base. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally, he set his sights on Zhao Yunji and said, "Yunji, there is a high probability that you will not go to Beifang City in the near future. How about selling the silk inner armor to the family?" "Okay, you can make the arrangements." Zhao Yunji nodded directly in agreement, which surprised Zhou Daoqing. Normally, if you sell an item to a family, the spiritual stones you receive in exchange will be relatively smaller, probably only about 80% of the market price. This is equivalent to a way of giving back to the family and providing benefits to the clan members. Many respected elders will not overly care about interests, and will choose to sell some higher quality natural materials and treasures to the family for internal use of the tribe. However, this situation is still relatively rare among the younger generation. After all, they still need to accumulate cultivation resources. Since he did not plan to go to Beifang City, Zhou Daoqing decided to sell the items that needed to be sold directly to the family at a low price. He did not intend to compete for the foundation building quota anyway, as long as he earned enough 1,300 low-grade spiritual stones. Moreover, Zhao Yunji's silk inner armor and his own Yuehua brewing are both of very good quality and valuable resources, and there is also a huge demand within the Zhou family. After thinking for a moment, Zhou Daoqing added, "Don't worry, I won't let you suffer. I will replenish the lost spiritual stones." Zhao Yunji was looking at the fish and shrimp in the Lingquan pond. Hearing this, he was stunned, suddenly turned his head, looked at Zhou Daoqing and said seriously, "As Taoists, you and I don't need to be so polite, just forget about this spiritual stone." Zhou Daoqing also smiled sarcastically, secretly thinking that he was still being cautious. Zhao Yunji walked around the valley, and after getting familiar with the situation here, he followed Zhou Daoqing back to Belan Lake. Not long after returning to the underground cave, Zhou Daoqing received a message from his eldest brother Zhou Daobai. Seeing the content of the communication, Zhou Daoqing had to sigh. What a coincidence. It was about white-scaled bass. The family asked Zhou Daoqing and the others to start fishing for white-scaled bass. Uncle 17th Zhou Shomu was already on the way and would buy the fish back to the family at 30% of the market price. Even though it was only 30% of the market price, this money was completely given to Zhou Daoqing and the others. After all, the cultivation of white-scaled bass did not require the three of them to worry about it, they only needed to fish. The eldest brother Zhou Daobai contacted him to discuss fishing for white-scaled bass. Zhou Daoqing thought for a while and immediately went to his eldest brother Zhou Daobai's island. As soon as he landed on the island, Zhou Daobai was already waiting here. He gave Zhou Daoqing a hug warmly and complained a little, "Sixth brother, you are a bit too much. You have been in Barren Lake for so long and you didn't come to see my elder brother." Zhou Daoqing smiled bitterly and said, "Brother, you are really busy practicing, how can you have time to visit us? Forget it, let's get together today and talk about catching white-scaled bass. Uncle 17 is already on his way and will be here in about half a month. We have to complete the fishing as soon as possible during this time." Zhou Daobai walked into the yard and made a pot of tea for Zhou Daoqing. "Is Uncle 17 the only one here? The white-scaled bass is worth a lot of money. Uncle 17's strength." "Ha ha ha." Zhou Daobai smiled and patted Zhou Daoqing's shoulder. "I haven't seen you for a year, and your vision has improved a lot. Are you looking down on Uncle 17's strength?" Zhou Daoqing spread his hands helplessly. "Aren't I afraid that Uncle 17 will be robbed on the way?" Although 17th Uncle Zhou Shomu is a show character, he is not too old, only in his early 30s, and he only has the talent of the 4 spiritual roots. Now he has barely reached the late stage of qi refining. After Zhou Daobai teased a few words, he also reassured Zhou Daoqing, "Don't worry, the second elder will pass by Barren Lake when he comes back from hunting. Then he will take Uncle 17 back with him." "That's good." Zhou Daoqing nodded in agreement, and the two chatted for a while, drank some tea and ate some pastries, and then began to discuss fishing for white-scaled bass. On the one hand, we need to consider the fishing method, and secondly, we need to keep it fresh after fishing to prevent deterioration. The white-scaled bass in the lake range in size from large to small, and some screening is required to ensure that only mature first-class white-scaled bass are caught. However, Barren Lake is very vast, and it takes a lot of time just to fish, not to mention screening. Zhou Daoqing also asked if there was an efficient way to quickly screen and catch white-scaled bass, but Zhou Daobai spread his hands and took out 3 sets of fishing nets from the warehouse. Zhou Daoqing looked at the vast Barren Lake, and then at the 5 long fishing net in his hand. 1 head and 2 were as big as one. Brother, you really think highly of me. You won't have to go into the water to fish it out yourself, right? There's nothing we can do about it. It's our first time raising fish for the Zhou family. It's normal for our technology to be immature." Zhou Daoqing held his forehead, sighed and said, "Forget it, brother, please leave the fishing task to me and Yunji, and you will be responsible for the subsequent preservation work. How about it?" Zhou Daobai glanced at Zhou Daoqing in surprise and asked, "Do you have any good ideas?" "Try it, it's easier than fishing for fish in the water." Zhou Daoqing rubbed his eyebrows, threw away the broken fishing net in his hand, and began to think in his mind, fishing with fishing nets is definitely not a long-term solution. We must find another way. After thinking for a long time, a plan emerged in Zhou Daoqing's mind. As a modern person, he is more inclined to fully automatic fishing. After briefly simulating it in his mind, Zhou Daoqing began to prepare. There were not many tools used, only 2, iron cage and spirit gathering array. The iron cage needs to be specially made, wide outside and narrow inside, so that the first-grade top-quality big fish can enter it, but cannot come out. The first-grade middle and lower-quality fish can enter and exit. Zhou Daoqing made a total of more than a dozen cages like this, and placed a large amount of fresh loach and snail meat inside the cages, which are the favorite foods of white-scaled perch. These cages are all placed around the spiritual veins in the water, because the first-grade top-quality white-scaled perch generally live in areas with rich spiritual energy. In addition, he also specially arranged 3 sets of spirit-gathering arrays and placed them around the iron cages to increase the concentration of spiritual energy around and attract white-scaled perch to come. This set of fishing methods not only completes the selection of fish, but also does not require too much effort. You only need to check it once a day and catch the white-scaled perch that meets the requirements. In just one day, 5 first-grade top-quality white-scaled perch were harvested, which was a good harvest. Zhou Daobai was responsible for making storage and transportation tools. He covered a thick layer of ice in a sealed huge box, and then quickly froze the fresh white-scaled perch. Every day after that, he would fish day after day. Seeing the white-scaled perch being pulled out of the water, Zhou Daocheng was in a very good mood. A first-grade white-scaled perch, without any processing, is worth about 150 low-grade spirit stones, but if it is sold to some high-end restaurants, the price can more than double.